and welcome back to the Break Zone. Again, I'm Jared Scott. This is Philip Marciano next to me. We are providing you our coverage of the now final round in our top 8. Top 2. Final matchup here at our Northern California Meta Potion Circuit event. Number 3. Not to be confused with 2 or 4. 5 is right out. Yep. So we're bringing you the top players here who've fought through 2 rounds of best of 3, as well as qualifying from the 5 rounds of Swiss. And we've got Thomas, who you've watched for the first couple rounds here. So we kind of know what to expect from his deck at this point. We'll be seeing Sean, who I don't believe... No, we didn't have him on the stream at all yet today. No. So we're getting to see a new deck here that we haven't seen yet today.
If you watch the Fresno circuit, Sean was on stream a couple times there. He was actually in the finals in Fresno.
Yep, so he is continuing to perform very well at these events.
Sean's a very strong player.
Oh, yeah, yep. And so let's look into the beginning of their match here. This should be pretty exciting watching these great players. Alright, we've got both of our players starting up. Again, we're very familiar with Thomas's deck, so it'll be interesting to see how it interacts going against Sean's. Looking at opening hand there, it looks like Sean going first. Yep. Sean is going first. Discards the Famfrit into an Artemisian, which will give you the opportunity to mulligan basically as many cards as you want.
Looks like 2 cards.
Actually, we might have seen, I think we did see Sean earlier today on the stream. We've seen a lot of players.
Yeah, a lot of matches today, a lot of good matches today.
Yep.
No value Black Mage, my favorite turn 1 play.
Alright, so we're starting early with the backup building.
Moogle.
It's a good play early because with the it's only 1 CP. It lets you kind of filter out cards that you don't want in your hand right now.
Yeah.
He's gonna play into the Onion Knight and attack with it, hitting an Onion Knight. So this is some onion on onion damage.
It's kinky.
I'm gonna let that one just be. Alright, we are into Thomas's turn now.
Chaos Walker.
He's gonna go ahead and Chaos Walker. Discarding it to look at his hand. You see there's a Golbez there. That Golbez is gone.
Yeah. Now, with Thomas playing in the Zidane, as often as he has been, that's going to be tough to conceal a Golbez. Unless you want to force the Golbez play as the Golbez player. Now, I don't play Golbez, so I don't think that is what you want to do.
Yeah, interesting thing here is that there's only 3 Golbezes in the deck. He's going to attack the Onion Knight, and Zidane is only 3k right now, so he's not going to block there. Does give the opportunity to attack back on the next turn, though, with no blockers there. But let's see what he does. He's going to do Fusoya, which is going to take out that Onion Knight.
Put them both 1-1. Flips over the Geese. Right, yep.
You have to block.
On damage there. He's going to play Merylwib. He's at this point. I mean, we know he's playing, some sort of version of Golbez because we saw one there. So he's searching for Golbez. I was going to say before that there's only 3 Golbezes in the deck. So Thomas has just removed one in a way that did not allow Sean to do his searching. So at this point, he's gone through what, probably 10, 15 cards, somewhere in that range in his deck. And so that still leaves the other about 35 plus. And there's only going to be, oh, he hits the Odin off of that. Yep.
So much.
But there's only going to be 2 Golbez's left in those 35 cards there. So we'll see whether or not he can actually draw into it. There are a lot of options in his deck for playing, or for drawing and filtering through. So, you know, that's going to be kind of the game plan here, except that he's working with less in the deck than a Golbez player normally would be if they didn't have it early.
Shulk into Zidane.
Yep, he's going to make Thomas have to discard one here. He discards the 7 CP Odin.
Now, against Thomas's deck, I don't see that Wind Zidane actually getting much value. There's a lot of lower costed forwards when you're playing in the Lightning Wind area. But we'll see how that affects the gameplay.
Yeah. He can't be targeted though, so he is going to be immune. Okay, well, Shulk is targetable
because it's really good against you.
And normally that would, we were talking before about how it would dull Zidane, but he can't be targeted by opponent's summons and abilities, so he's immune to getting dulled. Not that it really mattered because he couldn't attack with either Alcid or Rigdia.
Right.
But he's managed to at least temporarily win the battle here of keeping down Sean's forwards while building up his own set of forwards on the field.
Yeah. And we're
gonna return the Alcid, which is not the first time we've seen that happen today, but I'm still surprised by it.
Well, Alcid can't target Zidane, so at this moment it's a dead card. Or it allows him to play Lulu.
Yep, and Rigdia can block Zidane, actually.
Yeah, actually will kill Zidane. Yeah.
Yep, so that's pretty effective there. But it does make it so any future forward that Sean plays is potentially Alcid bait. Although if you played a Golbez, you probably wouldn't care if it was Alcid bait, I suppose.
Yeah, you want him to die.
Yeah. If they want to spend their Alcid on breaking your Golbez for you, that's probably something people would welcome. And we have a Devout play here. Our first non-water backup of the match for Sean there.
Which is going to allow him to recur something from the break zone.
Yeah, Thomas is going to play Zidane, so he's going to look at his hand here. There's a Leviathan, a Famfrit, and a Devout. So let's see. He sees there's no was no Golbez the second time, but that's actually a pretty effective way to keep Golbez from showing up. Looks like Rigdia blocked the Zidane. I missed what it was that killed him there on that, but that's not a bad trade necessarily. He plays Moogle again. He's still hunting for another Golbez at this point.
Yeah.
So this is kind of, I would think this is Thomas's opportunity to try to get in there before Sean can get to a Golbez, right? You want to try to take advantage.
Another Moogle. That's the third Moogle we've seen from Sean.
Great googly moogly.
7.
He's got a lot of cards in his hand. I was mentioning this earlier today. I think it might have been when Sean was playing that the thing about Golbez decks. He plays Cagnazzo, which is going to be good at keeping Zidane at bay.
Opus 2 Cagnazzo.
Yep.
That's a card that I don't believe we've seen today, but it's a card that when it blocks, it dulls.
Ooh, and Zalbag
doesn't care.
Yep, Zalbag's going to make short work of that. As I was going to say, all right, so we're up to 4 damage now. Oh, that was a Famfrit. That's what I missed before. So Famfrit was what hit the Rigdia and the Zidane.
Gotcha.
But yeah, in a Golbez deck, you have so many cards that are 2 CP that are of different elements that it can be a little bit tricky if you don't have a Cosmos on the board to actually play. Yeah, because you can't mix and match there, so you're going to have a lot of things that don't necessarily work well with each other. It looks like Sean's looking through his break zone. He does have the Devout available, and he's probably, he's only 3 damage away from. Yep, he's gonna break something, break that there to get the Dark Knight back. I like that. This is
7K Dark Knight. It gains 1,000 for each point of damage you've received. So it's a solid target for Devout. It's gonna block up to anything that Thomas has played on the board and also survive a Lulu Slam.
Yep. There's the Cosmos. He's going to use Barbarisha and a Rigdia.
Top, which
He's going to effectively get rid of that. He's attacking. We've now got Sean up to 6 points of damage.
And just really pushing the tempo. Sean's a little behind the 8 ball right now.
So yeah, Thomas is coming out pretty hard here. He's taking advantage of the fact that Sean has not gotten another Golbez. That was clutch early on, being able to get rid of it with the Zidane play. And now he's got 4 fields on the board, or 4 fields. four forwards on the field.
Yep, and he plays that Golbez now.
So he got there.
Yeah.
Is it going to be too late for that to make a difference? We'll find out. 'Cause, I mean, he will get to break it into 4 more forwards. And at this point, Thomas can kind of afford to bide his time a little bit, only because
Thundaga.
Oh, he's gonna Thundaga. Okay, so he's gonna go ahead and
force the issue.
Yep. The thing is, at this point, Thomas has 4 forwards on the board, so he actually does have options to deal with whichever 4 forwards Sean decides to play here.
And he only has 2 targets.
Oh, wow. And that's the thing is, we're late enough in the match, or the game at least, that there's not going to be a lot of great targets. And I mean, Zidane is only 3K. He's only going to do so much here.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, and Sean decides to. That's enough.
That's game.
He's had enough there.
He didn't have anything. When you fetch Golbez and you only can pull 2 forwards, yeah.
Yeah, it's normally that happens in a situation where somebody's breaking their second Golbez because they got a lot of their good targets the first time. But in this case, I think what happened was that he had to do so much searching for the Golbez. He filtered through so many cards. We saw so many Moogles and Merrowib and things.
Artemisian.
Yep, Artemisian. So a lot of his options were just not there.
Yeah, and it took him too long to finally get it, and it was too little too late. Thomas had a board presence, and he had 4 forwards out. It just wasn't gonna
Thomas takes
happen.
the first one.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. Golbez is a deck type that really thrives in the best of 1 format. It can be a little bit tougher in best of 3. That being said, Sean has obviously won the 2 best of 3 matches that he had before getting his top 2, and this is either the same deck or an iteration of what he played at the second circuit event last week, as far as I remember.
I was there, so when I was looking at it, it looks to be pretty much the same deck. I haven't seen much changes, maybe a couple foils, and foil lives matter. And
so I mean, he was in the top 2 last week, and he's top 2 again here. So props to Sean for some strong play and a well-built deck.
Yeah, and also credit to him as a player, playing against him at numerous circuit events and numerous just events in the area. Sean's always been a strong player, really smart player, really good to play against. Really just a nice guy too. We'll see how he responds.
Yeah, we'll see how this second round unfolds here. So Thomas has gone first, and we've got Red Mage. Sean decides not to go for the Artemisian. He must be happy with his hand.
The Aiko. Pronounced Aiko, people. Remember that, not Aiko.
Looks like we have. Okay, he's discarding
Zidane.
Aerith. Okay, so he is looking for. Okay, we do not have a Golbez this time around, but that Renault is one of those things that could be problematic later. It's kind of a pick your poison, but it's kind of the only forward that Sean has. So it'll be interesting to see if going forward whether or not he manages to draw the Golbez, because that would actually get a lot of forwards onto the field. But for now, it's a pretty good position for Thomas.
Discard 2, 4, 6. That's
how
you spell Golbez.
Yep. Obviously, we just saw his hand before this turn, so he just top decked that Golbez. So that Zidane came, unfortunately, 1 turn
he's
too
gonna
early.
Famfrit.
And yep, he's gonna Famfrit. That does empty out Sean's hand.
Yeah,
so
Sean's going all in.
Oh yeah.
Zidane, Mime.
This deck is interesting.
Yeah, okay, I was going to say, I would expect him to go into,
yep,
if you can get the 2 haste damage in there, that's huge. And he hits Exodus, which would have been a perfect response. So, what's happening so far here is that we have a we have a situation where the timing is just a little bit off from Thomas's deck having the perfect answers to what's going on. The Zidane would have taken care of it. The Exodus would have
wiped the board.
Yep. He's going to discard Odin. He's going to play Fusoya and take out the Mime with that. It's exactly 5,000 damage, so that's perfect. And then he's going to follow up with Gilgamesh.
Yep. The Zidane can still sneak underneath the Gilgamesh.
Yep. Thomas has a lot of damage in his deck that is 4,000 or 5,000 or so. So it's actually in a way well positioned to deal with Golbez in the sense that he can do things like if he draws a Opus 2 Black Mage, that would get rid of Tifa.
Yeah.
Things like that. So he takes the damage, decides not to
use the
activate the chaos. And we're gonna see him play Sage to return something back.
And
possibly
are we seeing the Zidane? Thomas has done this a number of times today. No, just
the Onion Knight back, which is effective against damaged forwards, but it can't do anything by itself.
No, but does he have the Al Cid? We'll see. Thomas has had the Al Cid every time he needed it.
This is true. Whenever a Golbez player breaks their Golbez, gets the 4 forwards, at that point it's okay. There's the line. That's gonna.
That Gilgamesh cannot be bounced to the hand.
All right, let's take a look at that. That is actually a very, very good situation. So this is something that's going in his favor. This Gilgamesh specifically cannot be returned to your hand by cards your opponent plays.
Yeah.
So that is clutch right now. Here's a look at that Gilgamesh.
Starter Gilgamesh.
Yes, this is the Divider Gilgamesh. So that would have cleared the way. Let's see, we hit a Zalbag, I think.
Yeah, it looks like a Zalbag on
the 4th point of damage. So as opposed to 3 more damage coming in from Sean, that's actually down to 1 point of damage.
And now Thomas also got a little information. But Geese into Shulk and
into nothing.
Sean has flooded the board.
Yep, and he's got to draw 2 cards and then immediately discard
throw them away.
Yep.
Shulk, yeah.
Yeah, you have to actually play another forward with Shulk to get the discard effect. So that doesn't go through here. The Geese obviously did, but Shulk at this point is just a 5k ice forward. And looks like Thomas is going to play Al Cid.
And we know he's got the Onion Knight.
He does. Now, he can't do damage to Geese because Geese cannot take damage from... Geese cannot take damage from opponents' abilities that are not special abilities. So, his choices there, since he wouldn't have been able to target Zidane even if he was active. So it was either get rid of the Tifa or the Shell or Onion Knight.
But now he's also got a blocker for Zidane with that Onion Knight on the field.
Yep.
I have to mold this, even though it has a guy in there. Like I have to mold it.
And he attacks with the Geese, and it'll be interesting if he has a Lightning with card in his hand, which he probably does.
And he's gonna pump it.
Yep, you can see it up here that you discard 2 and get, or sorry, if you pay 2 CP. Lightning CP, you'll get plus 1,000. So Gilgamesh handles that Geese there. This Gilgamesh is doing work for him right now.
I have to do this. Feels bad.
Hero Lulu.
I want to save.
All right. And again, Lulu can start popping things to get rid of, say, Shulk or Tifa. There's a Fusoya that Thomas has out, so he would also be able to use that to retrieve something else, perhaps another Zidane. I've said it before, and I'll say it plenty of times, that the key against a Golbez deck is how you respond after the initial breaking of Golbez. If you can actually handle that flooding of forwards onto the field, then you're usually in good shape, because there's a diminishing returns on a second Golbez break.
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to do it. He's going to do the Fusoya to break Shulk. Let's see what he retrieves.
No, I meant like
Zidane.
And we're getting Zidane back.
The bottom, so I suppose.
He's probably going to make sure his... nope, he's going to Black Mage to get rid of Tifa. At this point, he is... Alright, he's in good position here. He attacks the Al Cid, hits Toledo, attacks with Gilgamesh and hits the Warrior of Light, and that Onion Knight is positioned to be able to block Zidane still. So barring something like a Leviathan or some sort of other removal, he's kind of stalemate, not stalemated, but he's kind of stalled out Sean's plan.
Two, 4, 6.
And there's that second Golbez. So we'll see. It's still somewhat early in the match. So I mean, it's possible that might actually be problematic.
And Sean is left with 1 card in hand.
Yeah.
And we know that Thomas has the Zidane.
Which again came 1 turn, and before it's 1 turn too early. This time it's 1 turn too late.
Right.
But there's nothing you can do if he top decked it, which he might have. So I mean, you know, you can't Zidane in the middle of their turn, unless you Tama.
Unless you Tama him in.
Yeah.
I've seen crazier things happen, like Tama in Alcid Onion Knight. Not saying it happened to me today, but it might have.
Thomas looks over his options. He does have the benefit of more backups and more cards in hand. Versus
And more forwards.
And more forwards. He's kind of got, other than damage, he's ahead in a lot of ways.
He's got more damage.
Well, I wouldn't call it being ahead, but you are correct, my friend.
5K, and he's gonna break Golbez for him.
He's gonna do it. I think he's kind of almost not calling the bluff so much, but kind of he's forcing the issue and making, you know, seeing how many of these forwards he can actually get out. I think I saw.
And there's a
mime.
And does he have a 4th target? No.
Looks like no. And like I mentioned, diminishing return. So he did get 3 of those there.
And the Warrior Light will actually help him trade into like the Gilgamesh.
Yes.
Alcid if he wanted to. But the Mystic Knight is also a solid card to get from Golbez.
It's a great addition in Opus 3. He's going to remove the only card from Sean's hand, which is the Merylwood.
Yep.
And he's basically, at this point, he's kind of saying, come at me, you know?
yeah, come at me, bro.
With only 2 cards in his hand, is Zidane. Oh, he's passing.
Just passing the turn.
Yep, I was going to say Zidane, Thomas's Zidane, to be specific, is guaranteed to be 7K right now because Sean only has 2 cards in hand. Looks like he's going to,
Warrior of Light for 5K.
Yep, Warrior of Light, which is the most problematic forward, given that Gilgamesh is there. Zidane is not going to be blocking anything anytime soon. The Mystic Knight is a little bit troublesome, but at the same time, if he blocked Gilgamesh with the Mystic Knight and then did the 4,000, he could still pump it for that additional 1,000. So he's going to instead attack with Alcid, and Sean takes it, hits a Squall, which probably would have been pretty effective right now.
That would have been a nice card for Sean to see there.
Looks like he's going to pass the turn there. So at this point, Thomas has dealt with 2 Golbez breaks, one of which he initiated himself, actually. You know, so that's very aggressive and just kind of, I think, shows how confident Thomas is in the way that his deck works and the way that it can handle a lot of small-powered forwards.
Yeah, with that Lulu backup, it handles 3/4 of a broken Golbez. So we'll see what Sean can do here. He's got the Mime, and the Mime can always party attack and get you a card draw if you need to.
And at this point, Thomas has two potential blockers for Zidane, including the other Zidane. They would trade with each other. I'm sure that would be something he'd be happy to do.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, Sean's lines of attack. He attacks with the Mystic Knight. So at this point, I think. Okay, Thomas is reading it. I'm going to bring that up because I actually really like this card, but it's not seeing a lot of wide play yet, I don't think. It is 4,000 power when it goes to the break zone this turn.
Dealing 4K.
Okay, so Sean chooses to deal a 4,000 damage to the Zidane, actually remove that. As opposed to, you know, I think he saw what was happening with Gilgamesh. He was not going to be able to actually finish him off.
Not with a handful of cards in his hand.
And we see a Renoa now.
Backups. Oh, Renoa. Solid card. Probably the best card from Opus 2. Easily.
There's that Mystic Knight for you. It gets a lot of value. The fact that it can trade with something that's 8,000, barring a Larsa or Minwu situation, is actually very, very good.
Yeah. taking out the Zidane was a solid play. You know, a 1-for-1 with that Zidane was a trade I think Sean was willing to take.
Yeah.
My hand sucks dick. It's fine.
One of the survivors in my house.
So it's kind of, you know,
What?
Thomas has
What? Interesting.
options here. I mean, if he wants to be really aggressive, he could use the Lulu to take out the Mime.
I'm gonna take some damage, right? So.
You know.
Yeah.
But let's see what he's, you know, maybe depending on what's in his hand, he might have some other ways of removing that Mime. Because I think the Mime attacking with Renoa. Well, actually, I take that back because the attack back would be a little too much to deal with, I think.
Yeah, and the Lulu handles Mime if he wants it to, but can Thomas sacrifice the backup for it?
Yeah.
Though?
I mean, Renoa is both, okay, he's going to attack with the Gilgamesh. Sean chooses to take that, hits a Devout, so no X-Burst there. Did not block with the Renoa.
I guess it's so far this game would be kind of hard.
Yeah, they're at even damage now. Looks like Thomas is kind of testing the waters there.
The Al Cid.
Yep.
Because
I think he's looking. Oh, he's gonna take it there.
another Devout.
I think he's looking at the fact that, you know, if Renoa had blocked the Al Cid, it would have prevented the damage, but then Thomas could have finished off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he would finish off Renoa there and leave only 2 damage coming back with 1 blocker, or potentially 2 damage coming back with 1 blocker. So now we're in a pretty close
He's
situation.
actually gonna swing with the Onion Knight as well.
He's pushing the issue.
He's forcing it. Let's see what.
And
Yuna.
Oh,
Hero
Yuna. That is.
So that can't hit the Gilgamesh. Does he wanna bounce either the Onion Knight or the Al Cid?
Yeah, it's kind of not great options, especially the Al Cid right now.
I don't think he chose not to activate it.
Yeah,
Good choice.
That is a good choice.
Unless you want to bounce your own forward. Probably not likely.
So Thomas is going to
Sage.
Yeah, he's discarded the Balthier and done 2 for the Sage to bring back Fuso. Yeah, looks like he might play that right now because that would get rid of the Mime.
Nice play.
Yeah.
Gonna overpay for it.
Honestly,
Yeah, I think he's
5K killing. Oh, no, he paid properly now.
Yeah.
Good call. He was contemplating whether he wanted to.
And then he's gonna play. Oh, he follows up with a Rigdia, so he gets a blocker out there potentially.
A blocker for Zidane.
Yep. So he's kind of he's negated, I think, Sean's advantage there of that Renoa was going to be very, very useful, and now at this point, there's just too many forwards.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, Sean would have to get through with both Renoa and Zidane and have a haste person. So he's going to play Amon. That's going to dull. All right, does he have a haste forward to follow that up with? He attacks with Zidane, so he's not playing a haste forward.
But he's got the Renoa.
He does have the Renoa, so that's actually, you know, this is going to be an interesting couple of turns here.
Yeah.
So he gets him up to 5, and then that's it there.
Let's see, and Thomas has 2 cards in hand, and that's a big thing when you know we've seen with Thomas is he usually has a grip of cards in his hand, but now he's only got 2.
Yep. But he's got to have a way to. He's got to have a way to deal with these 3 forwards. He can't even let more than one of them in right now. So he's probably looking at what his options are. I mean, with the Renoa there, it's, you know, the Renoa is either going to block something or
die and dull the board.
Yes, and then that's problematic.
Yeah.
Oh, that wasn't it. I should have used. Okay.
Does
Thomas
nothing.
passes. He's gonna be reactionary here and kind of wait to see what happens with Sean, what he plays to follow this up. He can dull something down with the Amon, but with 4 forwards out there, it's,
you don't want to lose a blocker like
no,
that.
especially because I mean, well, Zidane can block something and die, but that's not a great situation to be in.
No.
If I were to guess, I would say if Thomas has some sort of solution, some way to, you know, the best way to deal with Renoa is to break her at the end of, or during your opponent's main phase 2.
Yeah.
Right? Because that'll dull everything down, nothing's going to attack you, and it frees you up to go into your next turn with everything active.
Yeah, you reactivate your turn, and Renault is not a problem at that choice.
Yep.
Charles out.
I'm just not sure if he has that option, but it's possible. I mean,
5
Lightning has
opens
options.
and 2 cards in hand. It's doable. It's very doable.
Yep, it would have to be something like a 7-cost Odin or a Thundaga.
Yeah. He could divider it at the end of his turn.
That's true. He doesn't have enough damage. I didn't think about that.
Action is to play it on my discard. So I'm winning.
Sean's looking at his options. Looks like he's going to discard Odin. He's going to bring out Devout. That's
the one that didn't go to the damage zone.
Yes.
And
we are getting that 7-cost
Odin.
Yep.
And I'll boom.
So he's going to do that during the main phase too.
Pay 7.
Yep.
You can answer if you
Renault is a very good Odin target.
You don't want to, but you have to force him to use that.
Sean's looking at his options here, I think.
It is his monk because he'll be trying to do.
Sean's thinking about
Yeah.
things here. Looks like
good.
that's gonna happen.
Summoner?
So he waited until Sean was passing the turn to do so. So that in a turn with no combat, it's very important to make sure that you know what phase you're on. So he waited all the way until the last point. And with the way that the phases work in this game, you have priority, and then you pass it to your opponent. So by saying that you're ending your turn, you're basically signaling that the priority goes to your opponent, and that you've gone through all the phases until the end of your turn. So that's a pretty safe point to do the Odin there. All right, we see them trading there, and it looks like Onion Knight's going to come in.
That's game.
And this should be the 7th point of damage.
7
And
point.
Thomas Wynn ends up being our champion here of this
NorCal Circuit number 3.
Number 3.
Thomas Nguyen, the SoCal Spy. I mean, he's not a spy.
So that was again, we saw Thomas continue his strong play through that we saw in the quarterfinals and the semifinals. He had very good answers to Golbez. He had some very kind of plays that were timed very well. Some plays that unfortunately did not line up with the timing that he might have wanted, but overall, I mean, it's another kind of masterclass in dealing with the Golbez deck and the various tricks.
Yeah, the Lulu deck can handle Golbez, the second half of Golbez, easily. You're playing backups, Black Mages, Fusoya. You're breaking anything that comes down. He played it the right way, the way it was supposed to be played, and now he's a champion.
Yeah.
So number 3.
Yeah, we have our champion here. So that was quite a final match. We hope that you all enjoyed it out there, watching it, and we hope that you've enjoyed this stream of the Northern California Meta Potion Circuit number 3, as he likes to say. So once again, we want to make sure to say a big thank you to Isle of Gamers for hosting us, and a big thank you to Anna. Yes, the owner of Isle of Gamers for the support of the circuit and the game, and giving us a place to play here on a regular basis. We want to say thank you to Meta Potion and Matthew Okamoto and all the work that he puts in. Thank you so much for your dedication and your work with coordinating here. So thanks to everybody at Meta Potion. That's Matthew Okamoto, Kyle McGinty. We've definitely they've come a long way since they started their SoCal circuit, and things are going great. The players are having a great time. We hope that you enjoyed watching all these matches here. So this has been a great resource for various communities. We are the Break Zone.
Thank you for commentating, spending your Saturday coming out and doing this for us.
Oh yeah, glad to do it. Oh, and a huge thank you. I can't go without saying thank you to JT, our very own JT from the Break Zone here, for all the work that he's put into getting us set up with the streams here, and all the editing work. He is the true MVP here at the Break Zone, and the rest of us, at the Break Zone, are all very thankful for him. So he deserves a real shout out there. I think we've hit just about everybody to say thank you to there. thanks again for watching and following through all these rounds. We had a lot of great matches, so glad you got to see all of that.
We'll see you next week.
Yep.
Meta Potion number 4.
Subscribe here. Subscribe somewhere down here. So you can keep seeing our weekly coverage of these Meta Potion events. Find us on Facebook, facebook.com/thebreakzone. I think that's all I got here. So this is Philip Marciano. I'm Jared Scott. It's been a pleasure streaming here for you guys today, and we will see you next time on the Break Zone.